Greetings everyone, Phil here from Nintendo Village. Thanks for joining us. In this video, we're going to be running down the best free games on Nintendo Switch. Yup, every single game on this list costs a grand total of naff all. But there are one or two that you will need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to play properly, so bear that in mind. As always with these types of videos, I have divided the games up by genre, so if you're looking for a certain type of game or you're looking for something in particular, use the timestamps down in the description to jump to the relevant point. All that's left to say is that if you enjoyed this video and think we did a half decent job on it, let us know by leaving a like and maybe consider subscribing to the channel as well, as we have new videos up every week and it really helps us to continue to grow. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's kick things off then with some MOBAs, or Multiplayer Online Battle Arena, if you ever wondered what that stood for. Arena of Valor is apparently the most popular mobile game on the planet, largely to its massive Chinese audience, and it got a Switch port back in 2018. Despite this being an online-only experience, you don't need a Switch Online subscription to play, which is nice, and developer Tencent did a pretty solid job of translating the mobile experience over to the sticks and buttons of Switch. There's a bunch of game modes besides the core 5v5 matchup that sees you take on different towers in a bid to destroy the opposing team's core. The game earns its money through microtransactions, of course, but you can always grind to unlock the various characters the game has hidden away for you, and it's not too in your face about getting you to spend money either. Nice. Smite is a cool variation on the MOBA genre in that, whilst the core gameplay is tried and true, there's a host of deity-themed characters to choose from with different classes and strengths and weaknesses. It positions the camera in a more classic third-person action angle rather than the traditional top-down perspective. This helps build an even stronger bond with your chosen character, as well as really putting you in the thick of the action, and also means the shift to a controller might come a little more naturally to you MOBA players who are perhaps used to a keyboard and mouse. Gameplay is what you'd expect from a MOBA. Various towers need taking down through several lanes before you tackle the opposing team's Titan. Once again, no Switch subscription required, and with cross-play and cross-progression, you're guaranteed to find a game and can pick up where you left off on PC if you want to give a more traditional MOBA control setup a whirl. Those are the current free-to-play MOBA options on Switch, but there is League of Legends Wild Rift and of course Pokemon Unite slated for later this year, so keep an eye out for those if you're into your MOBAs. Now then, let's talk fighting games. If you've always liked the look of Smash Brothers but find the huge array of completely different fighters a little intimidating, then Brawlhalla might be a great way to ease you into things. It too is a platform brawler, and although it features largely original characters, some noticeable faces like Rayman and Shovel Knight have shown up too. Crucially, all of the fighters play largely the same, so it's a lot more accessible in Smash Brothers in that way, though not quite as deep as a result. Still though, it's a lot of fun, especially with friends, and although you'll have to shell out some real world cash for the coolest cosmetics, you can quite easily experience most of what the game has to offer without spending a penny. There's also no need for a Switch Online subscription either. Lovely. Super Kirby Clash pits you and 3 other Kirbys against the boss, rather than each other, and there's different classes you can each choose to better take down your foe. The Sword Hero is the solid all-rounder, the Hammer Lord packs an added punch, the Doctor allows you to heal your teammates, and the B-Mage can help turn the tide of battle in your favour by casting spells. Fights are accessed using gem apples, an in-game currency you can earn by completing quests and challenges, and the game gives you a bunch every 12 hours too. Or of course you could throw some cash at it. Cosmetics and weapons are also unlocked using an in-game currency. You'll need a Switch Online subscription to play this one over the net, but if you've got some friends around and a few spare Joy-Con, you can play 4-player couch co-op, no questions asked. Whilst Ninjala unquestionably has some Splatoon vibes in its presentation, it has a unique gameplay mechanic all of its own, eschewing the saturated free-to-play arena shooter model in favour of a free-to-play arena brawler one, and does it with some success. It's a pretty easy game to pick up and play, so you'll be kicking the stuffing out of other bubblegum-wielding ninjas in no time at all. You earn points by smashing apple-shaped robots, which in turn give you more S-power that allows you to power up your weapon. Combat's fairly straightforward too, though you'll occasionally lock into a rock-paper-scissors dynamic, which adds an element of luck, allowing anyone who's on the receiving end of a beatdown to flip the tables. It's a fun, easy battle to pick up and play, though be warned some of the cosmetics are rather pricey. Pretty broad definition of fighting game there, I grant you, and this next lot I've thrown in the category called sport/racing because they couldn't really fit into anything else. And Rocket League isn't exactly what you'd call a racing game either. If you're not familiar with Rocket League, it's basically just car football, except the cars can sort of fly. It kinda got its initial hype from the fact it was a free game with PlayStation Plus way back when, and it's now come full circle and has adopted the free-to-play Season Pass model popularised by the likes of Fortnite. It's had some serious success over the years, including a healthy esports community, and is one of those games that's fairly simple to get the hang of, but is incredibly deep once you try to master it. Now that it's free, you've frankly got no excuse not to give it a whirl. No need for Nintendo Switch Online for this one either. If you are looking for a racing game, then there is actually a freebie option in the form of Asphalt 9, and it's a pretty decent one at that too. Its arcade-style racing is tons of fun, and there's a host of real-world cars for you to unlock and take for a spin. Cars use fuel, and 6 races will deplete that fuel, so you'll have to wait until you can use that car again, so it's one that's best enjoyed in shorter bursts. This approach being kind of a hangover from its mobile game origins. But there's no real need to part with any cash, provided you're happy to grind for the sweeter rides. The single-player campaign mode will keep you busy for ages, and there's both online and local multiplayer available too. Lastly, on what I've loosely dubbed the sports section, is Pinball FX3. Now, when you download the game, you will only have one table available. The game earns its money by selling you other tables, some designed by the developers, others based on licensed properties like Jurassic Park and Family Guy. But there's regular sales, so if you find you enjoy the game and want to expand your table selection, you can do. What Pinball FX3 does really well though is, well, 2 things. First, it utilises HD Rumble to great effect, allowing you to get a real feel for where the ball is at any one time. And secondly, the game can also be played in vertical screen mode, so you can get a great view of the entire table. If you ever enjoyed 3D pinball on Windows back in the day and want to recreate some of that magic on Switch, Pinball FX3 has got you covered. Right then, that's that weird collection of games out of the way, let's move on to some puzzlers. This one is only available if you're subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online, but if you have a Switch Online subscription and you haven't checked out Tetris 99 yet, what have you been playing at? The Battle Royale take on Tetris works spectacularly well, and it soon becomes incredibly addictive. I've lost numerous hours to that just one more game feeling on this one already. You and 98 other players compete to send junk from your completed Tetrises to your opponents, with the aim of being the last one standing. Things don't half get frantic as you get towards the business end of a match, and the core gameplay is as satisfying and addictive as it's ever been. If you've not played it yet, what are you waiting for? Pokemon Cafe Mix is the first of 2 Pokemon games on this list as it happens, and not the first free-to-play Pokemon puzzle game I found weirdly addictive. I put an unhealthy amount of time into Pokemon Shuffle on both 3DS and my phone a few years back, and Pokemon Cafe Mix somehow taps into that same addiction. It's a stupidly simple premise. Mix around different Pokemon faces to get them to join up and clear the board. But throw in certain objectives, the ability to get different Pokemon to join your team, upgrades for your cafe, and what is unquestionably the most adorable art style ever to be associated with the franchise, and you're onto a winner. You only lose hearts when you fail an order as well, and that's incredibly hard to do until you get a fair ways into the game, so it'll be long before you even have to consider parting with any cash. Available on Switch and mobile, it only uses touch controls, so you'll be out of luck if you usually play docked, but it's a fun one to mess around with whilst you've got Netflix on. Color Zen actually began life on the 3DS and then moved to the Wii U, and was a paid experience in its earlier incarnations, but has moved to a free-to-play model on Switch. It's a fairly generous one too, as you can beat the entire core game without shelling out a single penny. The only microtransaction on offer allows you to purchase skips, letting you jump ahead of any stages you're struggling with. As long as you're good enough then, that won't be necessary, though you may find the colour matching gameplay satisfying enough that you want to throw the developer a bone and buy some of the additional level packs once you reach the end anyway. Okay, Fallout Shelter is more of a resource management game than a puzzle game, but properly balancing the resources you have available is a puzzle in and of itself, and Fallout Shelter demands you manage those resources. The game's internal clock runs regardless of whether you boot it up or not, so don't go into it lightly. But if you've got the commitment to check in each day to ensure your vault is running smoothly, it becomes incredibly rewarding, especially when you start taking on quests and such. Again, one that started life on mobile, but the Switch's portable nature makes it the best way to experience the game if you want to play it on a console. Okay, we've covered a fair few dip in and out options so far, so let's take a look at some more expansive options in the adventure games section. Elder Scrolls Blades is a long cry from its bigger brothers like Skyrim and Oblivion, but is nevertheless a solid little dungeon crawler. You create a character and head out on quests, taking on various baddies and goblins in one-on-one battles. The rewards you get for completing those quests can then be used to upgrade your weapons and build out your town. Yes, microtransactions are present and they're a little more obtrusive than some of the other options on this list, but if you can live with that, you might find a fun little distraction here. If you've always liked the look of Monster Hunter but were a bit intimidated by the long established mechanics and surrounding bells and whistles, Dauntless could be the perfect appetizer. It features the same core gameplay loop as Monster Hunter: hunt down massive beasts, use their parts to fashion bigger and better weapons and armour to help take down bigger and better beasts and fashion bigger and better weapons and armour, and so on and so forth. But without some of the more nuanced and convoluted mechanics that have made their way into Monster Hunter over the years. It's super simple to jump straight into things, and there's no messing around with any narratives or tracking down monsters across the various biomes. Just jump straight into the action using one of a wide variety of weapon types that all offer different and unique ways of taking the fight to the game's fearsome titans. The second Pokemon game on this list, Pokemon Quest, also coexists on mobile, and the energy mechanic is a hangover from that approach to game design, meaning you won't be able to play this for hours on end without coughing up some coin. Still, as a dip in and out experience, it's rather fun, as you have to build a team of adorably cuboid Pokemon to go and take on various other creatures and tackle challenging boss fights. It's limited to the original Gen 1 Pokemon, so if you're a fan of later gens you might be a bit disappointed, but it's nevertheless a fun distraction whilst you're on a commute or waiting for a pizza delivery. Lastly, of course, we've got shooters, and there's actually a whole bunch of different types out there, so I've tried to avoid just listing a whole bunch of battle royales. Hopefully you'll find something of interest. Paladins, at the top level, is a free-to-play version of Overwatch, a team-based hero shooter where success lies in effectively utilising the different classes of characters available. The comparison does do the game somewhat of a disservice though, as like many other games on this list with paid counterparts, it also has an identity all of its own. Paladin's most interesting aspect is arguably the loadout cards, which give you certain tweaks and buffs to your chosen Paladin's core characteristics. It adds another interesting level of strategy to the game, and makes grinding to unlock all of the various characters much more entertaining and rewarding. If you're looking for a shooter that isn't purely PvP, then you should really check out Warframe. The quest-based looter shooter can get incredibly grindy at times, but there's absolutely nothing locked away behind microtransactions, so even the best weapons are available to you, provided you're happy to put in the time. Warframe is several years old now, but the developers are constantly updating it and adding new content, driven in a large part by the dedicated active community. It might be a little daunting jumping into such an established world, but the game does a decent job of onboarding new players, and once it gets its hooks into you, you'll likely be in it for the long haul. Warface, on the other hand, not to be confused with Warframe, offers a much more classic multiplayer shooter experience. There's team deathmatches, capture the flags and so on, all in a free-to-play package. Think of it like a low-cost Call of Duty. There's the usual battle pass mechanics in play to extract some money out of you if you're interested in throwing the developers a few quid, but it's definitely not a pay-to-win setup. Admittedly, it's not the prettiest looking game on the system, but the developers have prioritised performance, and you do get a consistent frame rate, which is important in an FPS. The game also has one or two cool mechanics all of its own, so if you're the kind of person who wishes we had something like COD on the Switch, Warface may well just scratch that itch for you. There are of course some battle royales you can find on Switch though, and the latest one to make the way to the Nintendo system is Respawn's Apex Legends. The free-to-play shooter has only grown in popularity since it first launched a couple of years back, and now Switch fans can find out why. The game combines the usual last team standing mechanic of the genre with the hero-based approach of something like Overwatch, meaning you've got a much greater chance of success if you work well with your teammates. The game's revolutionary ping system makes this much easier, even if you're playing with randoms, and the movement and gunplay is excellent throughout. Lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that the biggest free-to-play game on the planet is also available on the Switch. You may well be aware that Fortnite is on the system, but just in case you weren't, or if there's any non-gamer parents watching who are wondering if they can get that Fortnite thing all the kids are talking about for little Tommy's new Nintendo Switch, you can indeed. Just be prepared to be hounded constantly to buy the in-game currency V-Bucks for the game's various cosmetics. So there you go guys, 20 stone cold absolutely free games available on the Nintendo Switch. Let me know down in the comments which ones you like the look of, or if there's any others that you would recommend that we haven't mentioned. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, we've got tons of other cool stuff on the channel, including a video on games under $20, so if you've got a bit of cash to spare, go and check that out. I also stream every weekend on Twitch, so if you want to play one of these games with me and the community, come and hang out over there. There's a link down in the description. Do subscribe to the channel as we have new videos up every week, and don't forget to check out thenintendovillage.com for more Nintendo news, reviews, features, podcasts, and all that cool stuff. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.